Good evening, everybody. So just wait for people to funnel in here and we'll get started. Tons to go over tonight, like literally tons. I was working on the newsletter for tonight. Let me just click on the recently viewed so that we can keep track of what we're going over. So click on this and just keep on going. And we are set up. Good. Hey, G, what's going out? You're doing a cookout? Good for you, buddy. Good for you. I was watching my Eagles lose. Now they're winning. I feel like a bipolar fan lately. It looks like they finally got it together. So let's see. Let's see. What's going on, bro? So I'll wait for some other people to funnel in. I know it takes a little bit of time for whatever reason. And let me just click on this and I'll drop this in the trading room as well. For those in the room that want to come in. So and just drop this real quick. Wait. Okay. So as always on Sunday nights, I just leave this open. Yeah, that didn't go too well, did it? That just didn't go too well for you, Brandon. Don't feel bad for you. I'm not gonna lie. You have a good team though, Adam. Yeah, let's do Adam. Let's start before I start talking about the Eagles. Uh, so, look, this is why this one's on there. And let me put in the volume. Okay. And we're going to get rid of all these moving averages for now. We're throwing lower volume, RSI. Okay. And let me just run through this with you so that we're all on the same page. When you have a stock that's basing, you can throw one moving average in if you want, but when you have a stock that's basing, moving averages are kind of pointless. Okay. So what you want to focus on is you want to focus on where supply and demand is more than anything else, because that's what's motivating, right? And you can see here they've been stepping it up. The sellers are going away, right? They keep going away. And then you break out, you made this higher high right here, right? So we can all see how we made this, and I'll blow this up a little bit for everybody. So we can all see how this bar made this higher high, right? And then we can all see how it did it on this volume, right? 3 times above average volume. And then we can all see how the RSI line crossed the 50-day, right? So this is doing everything that it needs to do. Friday was the first bar that actually confirmed. Again, as people know from the trading room or that have just followed me for a while know, I'm not really interested in like $1 or $2 when I put those top 10 together. I'm trying to make and get in front of something that could be a bigger move. So the next thing that we could overlay into this one is volume by price. And let's just look what's going on. Well, as we work our way up, okay, as we work our way up, we can see how supply is going away. So again, this 30-40 level, and one other thing you could use, and I use this sparingly, but you could, when you have a big peak like this, putting a VWAP on it is not the worst idea, because then you can sit down and kind of figure out what's going on, where all the players are since the peak. So in other words, what this line I just put up here is giving you a VWAP, right? That determines where everybody's in since the peak. So you know where all the players are, okay? And once you're over that line usually, and you have confirmation like you do here, that's good. You just have to be careful with VWAP. I have a saying where you can VWAP all over yourself. You could draw them on anything, right? And then and then just point to it. So you have to find out what works for you. I could say, oh, here's one, right? So it just really depends. Okay. I use them on peaks and valleys, and I find them the most helpful. I'm looking for 3042 New Zealander. And then if that breaks above there, this can go. This could get back up here. This could work its way up. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in a short period of time, but this is setting up, and you just want clarity on it. Look, I mean, it doesn't get any clearer, like what we're looking for, right? So I hope that's clear. If you have more questions about it, please let me know. ZI, let's do it. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? This goes when it's not supposed to go. The issue is this has been the pattern of what's been happening. We have earnings. It takes 2 to 3 days, and then it's been reacting. Okay, we saw this with Netflix. We saw this with several companies. So, let me just write something down that I want to go over. So let's just go through this so we're on the same page with ZI. Here you are, and you're looking to break right here, right? And you've done it. You've broken. Now, I don't like that this volume is nowhere near it, right? So it didn't do it on great volume. So let's see how that plays out volume-wise. But other than that, it's not something I'd be rushing into here. So just watch that. Okay. I like it. You might have a trade here. Look, if you make a higher high here, okay, that could be it, and that could really go. Okay. But you could also reject. I'm not so sure what kind of reception the software and semis are going to get tomorrow, considering the infrastructure bill and Visor. I was just writing a whole report on it, frankly, and just looking at it. So I'm not so sure on that. But I would use that 74 level on ZI. Okay, that's what I would be focused on. So LABU, hey, baby. LABU. So here you are, tried to rally, failed. I mean, I really don't need to spend an inordinate amount of time on this. Look, I'm going to leave this in for a little bit on some of these names. There's your point of control. You're sitting right there. You couldn't break VWAP. You tried before, couldn't do it. So why would I have no interest in this. It's just not going. Now, I was looking at this, okay, and, you're breaking down again. So, look, this is going to be pretty wicked. You may have, this might be like, this might be it. There was something that was alluded to with Visor, and we should talk about this really quickly. They were talking about that this could be it. In other words, that by January, the pandemic that could be classified not a pandemic anymore. And if that's the case, that's going to be very interesting. And it really will affect the vaccine names. So, and I do think it may happen. I do. I think it may happen. I think it may happen for several reasons. Do you like Uber opening up again for a supply, not a great close? I think you have a lot of people that are in Uber that, they really don't want to be in Uber, I guess is the best way to say it. So like for me here, look, let's do it this way. Okay, let me just turn this off. Okay, so we're going to leave volume by price in. Here's the thing with Uber. See all this stock in here? It's hundreds of millions of shares that's just in this, okay? And they're just selling every chance they get on any rally, right? Every rally is a wick, every one of them. Well, that just tells you that you're just seeing selling after selling every day. People just want out of the name. Now, I don't know if that is institutions. I don't know who it is, but if you look at the past 2 weeks from here on, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you've had 2 positive days off the open in 10. That's not something I'd be rushing in. So it's not something I'd be rushing into at all. So I would hold off on it, Isaac. I can, get a little more creative with it and show you some bells and whistles, but I don't, throw in the moving averages. But it's not really doing anything. You're right against the 200-day. You're just wedged in here. And when you're basing, I really don't care that much about these averages. So it's just kind of how I feel. So let's just keep going. I'm just not crazy about it at all. I don't think you should be near it. Go Birds. Yeah. There's a comedy of errors today. That's for sure. GESE. So I actually think GE could have a good day tomorrow. Um, I actually do think that, we did that 10 for 1 split. The stock's trying to do something. It could go up tomorrow uh, on this news. It's possible. So we're gonna have to see how it plays out. But you're in a huge base. I mean, you've been basing since this right for a year. It's not going down anymore. All the moving averages have caught up, right? Maybe it's done. Maybe it's finally done and it's going to regroup. SE. All right, so let's get rid of this. Interesting how it still respects it. Okay, so you come down, you test the 50, you try to break out, you fail. You come back, you hold the 21. Yeah, I mean, I'd be careful here, right? So let's just look at this. I mean, that's still an issue. This high is still an issue with only 2 closes above it. And you can see right here, see? So who's ever up there hitting that sell button, they did not go away yet. I'd want to close above that. And one of the other things you could use on this, I mean, the chart overall looks great. I would look for something like that. Let's get rid of this arrow because we don't need it. Clean that up. Okay. Now you see what I'm looking at, right? That's what you want to say. Okay. That's what you're looking for. So maybe if you get a break over that, yes, you could take a look at it. Hey, Edward. So let me just keep going here, make sure I'm caught up. I'm nowhere near caught up already. Jeez. All right. So let's do coin and start there. Well, coin's in the top 10 this week. If you haven't watched the top 10 video already, it's in there. Okay. You have to look at it. Now here, 350, 345.97. I don't know why my dyslexia kicks in on this particular stock, but it does. 345.97 right here, right? Look. Okay. You can just say it. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Now you're coming into earnings and look, I think earnings are going to be great. But it really boils down to, I think it's going to be great the way that they explain NFTs. I'm hoping they do it the right way. And if they do it the right way, the stock's going to have massive potential. Massive. I really believe that. There's nothing here. There's no volume. Like this just like here, let's look at this for a moment. This volume just doesn't slow down. It goes away over this line, right? So I would not be surprised to see this go over tomorrow and clip. I would not be surprised to see that. So if it does do that, I'm in for the trade. And if I can get a certain percentage on it, I might buy a put against it and just keep it into earnings and give it a shot. I have to look at it. I have to look at how the options trade tomorrow. A lot of moving parts. Okay. So see how you're here? You broke it, you tried, but you came back down and tested it. But you can't get above that 21 day. And the other thing you have to realize here that people are not taking into account, and they don't like when I say it, but it's a fact. Okay. This long red nasty bar is in charge. Okay. For those that looked at that candlestick video, they know what this pattern is, right? We completed that pattern and we haven't broken yet. Now, you may recognize that you have 1, 2, 3, and maybe you're forming a bullish hook and you're about to go higher. So what you could do, if you really wanted to play it, was any trigger above this bar, buy it, and then use this low as your stop. Okay. But that's going to give you, 320 to 335. Okay. It's going to give you a 15-point range. Okay. Now, you have a 15-point range and you have earnings coming up the 9th. So, and I'm in a bear flag. So, and sometimes you reject the first time and then you break out. I'd be really cautious. I'd be really cautious here. It's not something that I'd be rushing into before earnings. You know, there's a lot of people that are trying to play this before earnings that are trying to extrapolate out what happened with Lending Club, and I'm not so sure that you can do that. So I'd be very careful owning this going into earnings, because God forbid they stumble, right? I mean, you have to remember, right out of the rip, this was their first quarter, right? And nobody expected it. 7 cents, 22, like every quarter is a triple. They don't triple for some reason. You're going to watch people sell the stock. So keep that in mind. At Tesla. So look, let's discuss Elon's tweet. Okay. The bottom line with Elon is that he has, let's get rid of all this. Okay. Let's turn this off and let's get rid of the indicators. So the bottom line with these, this is where we're in from the newsletter. Everybody's aware of that follows the newsletter. If not, there'll be a free version in this description when this is posted later. So look, I still think that you're getting up to here. I think it's more than doable, okay, to trade up to that level. The issue becomes how and what we're going to do about it when it gets up there. And I'm trying to stay in it. Now, I don't see anything that changes my opinion yet, okay? What I have here and what it's forming, okay, these 3-bar patterns are really powerful. So usually this bar, you just explode. Like when you come here, have like an uncertainty bar, then close it at high. This next day is usually an explosion up. We didn't get that on Thursday. So it made me somewhat concerned. Now, instead, we get a lower low. So, my thought is that if I break this level, I'm out. Okay, I'll be out of my trade. That's how I'm playing it. But, as far as his tweet, I don't know what that tweet does. I don't know if it takes the stock up. Because last time he said the stock was too expensive, it was $700. It's up 5-fold from there. So I have no idea what that does. I do know that he has options that he has to exercise. And we think that he may be doing this because he's got to exercise options. So I have no interest in selling it unless I break below that breakout bar. 0. So AOSL. Alpha Omega Semiconductor. Yeah, I mean, this looks amazing. This looks really good. So, and that volume spike looks great. I mean, it's very hard to find anything negative about that. And the earnings must have really knocked the cover off the ball, because look at your relative volume. You can tell your relative volume is going to be crazy, right? Yeah. I mean, you're 4. Yeah. I mean, look, you're 3.5 times your regular average volume. That's exactly what you want. So what we have to do now is just look at this and figure out how we would play this. And this is how I would play it. I mean, at this point, you need to play this. Let me just drop that down. Where is it? There I am. So I would just watch that. I mean, you clearly rejected there, right? Now, I didn't drill down into this, but we can drill down into it a little bit. Okay. Yeah. And you see, so this is the 5th, and we broke up and we touched that level, right? That's why it's so important to understand these levels. So, but you can see how you touch that level I just drew, right? And then this is basically a bearish hook, right? Reversal, red bar, and then it breaks. So it's not what you wanted to see, that's for sure. And then you kind of follow through. You thought, geez, maybe it'll hold. Maybe I'll form a morning star and I'll attack it again. And that just didn't happen. So it is what it is. But I don't see a reason, to rule it out yet. Maybe the second time it goes. But watch that 43. It's already rejected that 43 once. But I like that. That's definitely something to watch tomorrow if semis decide to go. And this is a smaller cap semi name. And you can see where we looked at it all before. So I do like that name. It's interesting. Hey, Cena. Cena, it's very possible. It is. I was looking at it today. I mean, look, I'll just, everybody knows that I had options on this. I had puts on it. I added to the puts. I added a new set of puts on Friday. I'm down on them. I left them out there as a lotto, essentially, in case something else happened over the weekend. Because usually where there's smoke, there's fire. The rally that you saw would have been more convincing that it's over had I gotten up over the open, and I didn't do that. So I may just base here and then slowly come down, right, and just lose the premium in those options. I mean, that might be what happens to me. But with these gaps right here, yeah, I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff, right? Like that doesn't usually just stop. So, I'd be thinking about that. Are we oversold? You just started becoming oversold. So you don't have any signs of oversold, I don't believe. Yeah, I mean, you have zero signs that you're anywhere near oversold yet. Zero, not even on the MACD. You're just starting to be oversold on the MACD, and you're just starting here to be oversold. So this could have a long way to go. I've been saying that. Could it bounce? Maybe. I wouldn't want to be on that side of it. I really would not want to be on that side of it. So, I'm on the other side of the trade. Maybe I'm too biased. What's going on, Alberto? Hey, Dachi. MTTR. So this was our breakout, right? This was the level we looked at before. We broke out. We failed. We gapped down. We attempted to get back over 2270, and we what? Failed. Wicks or what? Price rejection. So that's not something that I would be looking at until it does what? Gets above 2270. And then you have a bunch of other nonsense you have to look at, right? You still have this up here that apparently is right where we opened and closed. So obviously somebody's still up there. If this was the high, right? So think about this peak and what that peak represents. That peak represents pure selling, meaning someone just sat up there and said, I'm going to sell as much as possible. And all the buyers went away the whole way down, right? That's what that peak means. So here's the open. It goes up. Here's the buyer seller showing themselves again, right? And they just happen to be at the same level, getting off as much as they can. What happens again? Boom. So you might want to watch those two levels. And after those two levels, maybe I'd look at it. Yeah, you got to stop buying things swing that have been beaten up. Like, let me rephrase that. Unless you plan on taking a massive long-term look on the market, which is fine. Okay. I know people and I have friends that do nothing but buy beat up biotechs after they blow up. Right. And they understand them inside and out. It's a completely different game than what I do. Completely different game. I want my money to constantly be making money. And if it's not, I feel like I'm doing something wrong and I have no patience. So I know what kind of trader I am. I can't buy broken charts. I just can't do it because it doesn't work for me on my trading. So I don't care about the fundamental story. I do, but I don't. If that makes sense. TA to me looks like it's going to just break out and keep going. I mean, I was surprised that's the only move it got out of. Maybe it had to clean up the rest of this. Maybe the people that sold here and were still selling here don't realize the magnitude of the visor move, which again, I don't think they do. I really don't. The people say that the market's efficient. The market is not efficient. Okay. It is a mechanism of human behavior. So when you look at it, there's all kinds of disparities that are out there that people just don't understand. And then they get hammered with them. Right. So, but I like this trade a lot. And I think this could be a slow grinder higher. So in regards to his stupid Twitter poll, and Larry, I covered it. I'll do it again. But look, in regard to the stupid Twitter poll, this is it. I mean, this is how you have to look at it, right? At the end of the day, people are not going to sell the stock because he does dumb stuff. He dressed up as Wario and went on SNL. He just does dumb things. I personally think it's calculated because he knows he has options. He has to expire. He has to exercise, and he's going to do that, or he's going to sell some stock. He's as far as billionaires go, okay, he is very self-aware of his image. I mean, they raised a couple $100 million for St. Jude when they launched that rocket into space. They did a whole thing on Netflix on it, right? Now, he could have wrote a check, but it's more about, the image and everything else. So I don't know. Look, if it opens down here, I'm all over it. Like if you open down to the 21 guy over something dumb like this, I'm all over it. Other than that, that breakout bar is my stop, and that's it. And we're up so much. Right? If you're in from when the newsletter starts, we're up so much. I'm still up 60% on the one. Right? Where are we? 70%. So I'm not sweating it. Is it stupid? Yeah, Larry, it's really stupid to me. All right, Dan. Hey, Dan. So thoughts on holding the video in the earnings and taking a position. So, okay. So here's the first thing. Holding the video into earnings. That is completely up to everybody what they want to do. To me, I was not crazy about the action. I didn't like how we took out that high, triggered me. I bought more options as kickers. We had a great option trade the day before for a week. But I bought kickers this day, meaning that I thought it could kick higher and make a little more money. That's not what happened. Matter of fact, it just turned into, just the exact opposite of that. I bought a little more right near the close on Friday. Owning this into Friday, owning this into earnings, you have to make that decision. This 17th, I have options that expire on the 19th. I might hold them. I might not. I did exceptionally well in this one option trade. So maybe I'll give it give it a little lead. But what would I do? Look, this is simple. You came up, you rejected. A wick is what? Price rejection. A wick is price rejection. We opened and then we ran up and then we closed lower than the open. But let's talk about this, okay? Because these little nuances are what makes the difference, okay? Your close, okay, is 298. Your close is 297.52, okay? And then after hours, okay, 299. So essentially you're in the same area. Nothing really changed except you closed and you opened and stayed in the same area. So nothing changed. If you want to be super conservative, you use this low as your stop. But other than that, leave it alone. I think we're up 50% in some of these positions. Yeah. So just leave it alone. So is Roku doomed? Look, the whole Roku trade was laid out and it was the writing was on the wall. And, I don't know how we talk about this, but when you break the 50 and you can't get over it, you come back down and here come earnings. This is a great example. And I'm just going to point this out. So this is where I bought it for the newsletter, just so everybody gets this. We all don't get it right. Okay. This is when I bought it for the newsletter and it rejected. Okay. And then the day that it rejected, we blew out of it. As soon as it took out this low, we were gone. Okay. And you can look at how much heartache that saved us by having stops. Always use stops. Please remember that. So what am I getting at here? Okay. This is toast. Where do you think that's going? If you were to look at this, right? If you were to look at this chart, DJ, okay, and you didn't know what that was, right? And I'm getting really into teaching tonight, but you don't know what that chart is. Would you buy that? Would you go anywhere near that? No. You have the 21 pointing down, the 50 pointing down, the 200 pointing down. You wouldn't go anywhere near that. So why are you letting the name of the company influence you if that's what you're doing, right? I shouldn't assume. Okay. Everybody was, we're going to hold that level. That's a lot of hope to hold that level. A lot. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not risking that. I would actually short it if it broke that, because to me, then it'd be going back down to here, 230. Look, these things can always get worse than you think they can. These drops in some of these tech names, this is nothing. I've seen much. I've been around a while. I've seen much steeper drops, but I wouldn't go near that. Yeah, I think you're toast. Yes, I think the airline stocks are primed. I think between the infrastructure bill, and I think between the Visor protocol, I think that, yeah, they are primed. They are primed and they are ready to go. I think you're dead on, Ohad. So we can talk about it. Look, this one has the best balance sheet. Okay. This one has the best balance sheet, broke above the 50. Okay. The second one that has like the second best balance sheet is this one. All right. Above the 50. Okay. So they're the two that with the best balance sheets. This is the most levered names. Okay. That's the most levered name out there. Okay. This is the second most levered name out there. Okay. So you can see that leverage is outperforming a solid balance sheet. What does that tell you? If leverage is outperforming, right, a solid balance sheet, then that tells you that they're expecting leverage to work. Who's they? Institutions. Who else are buying these names, right? So to me, that would mean that I would focus on DAL. I would focus on UAL if I thought this trade was going to work. The easiest trade is just buy this, right? Because it trades, and you can actually see it's actually trading like a compilation of all the names I just gave. And then you don't have to worry about it. But anybody that thinks that this is going to be a one-day hit, we could come back down and fill the gap tomorrow. But this is not a one-day hit. I really do believe that travel is going to open up, things are going to open up again, and we're going to move forward. And I think that politically he has to some extent. I try not to get into politics unless it's extremely actionable. And what happened with the recent elections is extremely actionable, that they realize that they must act. I think that that's a pretty clear assessment, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. But I would be looking at these names. Yeah, I think that these are going to move up. You're coming into the Thanksgiving, Christmas season. People are going to want to start traveling again, right? So you're going to see all kinds of stuff. So I am like super behind here. I'm going to jump ahead. And then if I didn't answer your question yet, just please throw it back in the mix. I'm just going to jump to the front so that I make sure everybody gets there. Yeah, I don't think buying leaps in the airlines is a bad idea. So that's an awful, awful joke. That's awful. I don't know why Elon does that. I don't know. I think Zuck's the alien. I don't know why he's trying to do that. I'm glad you brought that up, though, just so we're all clear. Just, this RIVN is going to go public. Just remember that symbol. But you're going to see a play this week, and I wrote this down to explain to people, okay? The way that this usually works, and has worked in my lifetime of trading for like 20 years, there's a trade here, okay? And usually, let me get rid of all these lines. Usually the trade is simple. These run up until the underlying stock goes public. Okay. The day they go public is the day that it comes in. Why? Because now they have a different vehicle that they can trade and utilize. So consider that. Okay. You could buy Ford. And we had some people in the room actually do great with options. And I wasn't one of them. I didn't do any. But this probably goes up too. Up to that day. This probably continues to move up until the IPO. I think the IPO is Thursday, I want to say. So just put those two on your radar. If you're looking to try to take advantage of that EV move, that IPO coming out, but they usually sell off that day. So what's the level for love? Let's get to it. So there's your level, $53, right? And then you're going to have to contend with this. So that's what I would use. Hey, Doug, NCLH. Let's do it. So if you follow me on Twitter, I did a whole thread today on the infrastructure bill and what stocks are going to benefit from it. For those that are interested, you might want to take a look. I also just put an option trade video out on trade we did okay with, very well with actually. NCLH, look, you see how you ran right to here and you rejected? See how you ran right to here and rejected? That's not what you want to see, Doug. You know, I like that volume. That volume's great. I mean, that's huge. What's the relative volume on that? Yeah, I mean, it's impressive volume. What I don't like is that I formed a doji. Yeah, maybe because you have all this selling that's still in here from these people that have been in forever, and they just need to be cleaned out. Could take a while. I like it long term. I do. I like it long term. The one that looks the best of the group to me is this one. I think this looks the best. Clearing higher highs, right? Getting back up to this level. I do. I think this one looks the best. So it's crazy what a year did to it, right? AJ, I'm concerned about, I'm not about third wave or what with the coronavirus. No, I'm not at this point. I'm not. Could something else come out? Absolutely. You know, who knows? You know, man plans, God laughs. Who knows, Jay? But I think you have to think about it from this perspective, okay? That China has their own issues. There's a reason that he's not going to that G20 summit. Okay, he can't even leave that. He can't even leave where he is right now, right? The president can't leave where he is because he's worried that he's not going to be able to come back. I mean, there's a reason why he's not leaving the country. So, and holding on the power. So, you know, I listened to someone talk about China the other day to just touch on this very briefly. And it's somebody that was very well connected and really knew foreign policy. And they said all the crackdowns and all the things that they're doing aren't showing that China is strengthening. It's showing that China is weakening. It was a very interesting take. So no, I don't consider that an issue. I think China has their own issues. So, Jin, I think it can. Let me caveat this with, I have a position in this and I have an option position in this. You know, we're actually up in both, but I like it. I held it. I went to hold it over the weekend. I didn't know why it was moving. Perhaps it's moving on the infrastructure bill. Look, it's good for the company. This infrastructure bill is good for this company. Okay, no matter how I feel about whether their sustainability or how long they're around, I don't know, but it's definitely good for the company. And the more accessibility, the more accessibility to charging stations, the more people are going to feel comfortable buying a car. You have people that are out there that are going, how do I charge this darn thing if I'm on the road, right? They don't understand it. I know it sounds odd, but because we understand it because we're involved with them. But yeah, I do. I think that this could go to 50. I think, look, a lot of people think the sell the news is tomorrow. I don't know that that's going to be sell the news tomorrow. I don't know that. A lot of people, including myself, did not think this infrastructure bill was going to pass. And now we have it. So yes, it can get there. So that's all right. It's kind of funny. I'll tell bad dad jokes later. CELH. So is this the time? I mean, is this really when it's going to do it? You're coming into earnings. You know, it's always a, you know, who knows? I mean, you just don't know how it's going to go. You just really don't know. So, you know, for me, I wouldn't do anything with it. I'm not buying it before earnings. I know that much. You know, that's coming out this week. So you're going to have to watch that. But that's not something I'm willing to jump into. 109. I mean, maybe it works, and it's clean. That's a clean break. You have follow through on that. You're going to see people play it for sure. I don't know that I'm going to play it in the earnings. You know, it's too thin. I definitely am not going to hold it in the earnings if I do play it. My hope would that it would come, you know, get hit and then set up a pattern that I could play. That would be of interest. But and that is working. Yes, that is doing everything it needs to do. See if you have follow through tomorrow. Maybe you can play a short-term trade there. There could be a short-term trade there. SI, AMAT, AEHR. So let's do SI. Look, there's your line. You broke out of your line and you just kept on going. We tried to do a trade here. We got stopped out of it. And then the earnings hit. We were grateful. And then it went up and broke out again. Right? So, I mean, it's a big move and it's out of nowhere. So usually what happens here is you form a flag up here for a bit and base, right? You might want to use this low as your stop. Shouldn't break 195. And see if you're in it, stay in it. Would I buy this here? No, I would not. I would let it settle in first. So I aim at. So, yeah, I mean, look, you're seeing follow through in the semiconductor names. You're definitely seeing follow through there. Let me just grab something very quickly here. So, you're seeing nice follow through. Now, do I want to own this before earnings? I don't know. I've been watching some of these names and the way that they're acting. Like, here's Lam Research after earnings, above the 200 day, right? Here's ASML, right? Nobody wanted it at 700. 2 weeks later, we're at 840, right? Riding that line. Flip the 50. So, look, we from the, just FYI, from the newsletter, we are loaded for bear on semiconductors. I mean, we're in this. We've done exceptionally well with it in a very short period of time. It's very clear that people are finally getting this. Could this rest? Yeah, absolutely. You had a big move, but I don't know that means it's over. So I like AMAT. Let me give you the short answer, so I don't waste everyone's time. I like that. Yes, Edward, they do have a stake, and they do a large stake, actually. I think. Let's just see. Asan, you just have to watch. You have to watch this pattern. Look, when you have a long red nasty bar, right? What does that mean? It means it's in charge. What's going on here? You're forming a flag, just like UPST. Okay, I think the travel names and the small caps and with the infrastructure and the new protocol are going to get all the play. That's what I think. Let's just keep going. Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to make a lot of money on that, and I think you're fine holding that if you're willing to hold it out like that. There's no reason to move it. Hey, Tim. Sophie, look, this is what's going on with it. You tried to rally up and you broke down. People are playing this and they're trying to find a reason and talk about the short position and everything else. Look, I mean, as much as I am a Chamath fan on what he's trying to do and things like that, a lot of these names have really very little teeth to them, right? They're companies that come out that have technology ideas and essentially it's a SPAC, right? So it's a company that's trying to be a company that couldn't have gone public any other way. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. Technically, you're crazy to buy this before earnings. You just ran up, and now you have this date out here. So you're absolutely crazy to do anything with this, in my opinion. I would not be doing that until after that date. Could you trade it? Sure. If I got above this level, I could trade it 23 3/4. Other than that, no. Plug, I think you could rock and roll with Plug tomorrow. So what I put together out there, I think Plug could continue to go. I think that whole space could tomorrow. I really do. Fuel cell, Plug, Fuel Cell, Checkpoint. I mean, the more I went through these names, I really think they could all run tomorrow. I do. I think it could be a big day for them. Lucid, all of them. I think it could be. I think it could be big for Tesla. So we'll have to see. You're welcome, buddy. Oh, it definitely does. Look, Brett, Airbnb is on my very short list. I had a lot going on Friday, off the open, with positions between huge NVIDIA position and net position. So I didn't have time to read all the Visor news and really read that study until later in the day. And I didn't have time to read the Airbnb or the Peloton news to the end of the day. And after I read it, it's pretty staggering. Look, this is one thing I want to point out to everybody. And I brought this up in the top 10 video, and I'm just going to give you a tip, and you might want to remember this. Okay. The hour you're spending here tonight is worth this one tip. Do you see this? You see how you're slowing your growth, or you're slowing your loss? See how the loss flips for the first time in history of the company? Okay. I learned this years ago, and fundamentally institutional funds, certain ones, will not buy a company no matter what the growth rate is until they start showing a profit, a true profit, right? Okay. If you look at Amazon, from the time it showed its first profit to now, it's up tenfold. Okay. I think this could be an absolute monster. Like you're going to look back and go, I can't believe I could have bought that at 200. Like I really think it has that level of potential to be a really good long-term hold. Okay. So do what you want with that. I'm going to watch this level tomorrow and go from there, but it's definitely on my short list, and I think it should be on everybody's. But when you go from negative to positive as a public company for your first time, okay, pay attention, because believe me, fund managers are paying attention. There's a reason that this is the single greatest volume that this company has ever done. There's a reason for that. So, yeah, I'm sure there's tons. I'm sure he's got tons of warrants on it. FB. I mean, I would too if it was my company. And he's trying to make money. And then if the idea doesn't work, he just says, I'm selling due to climate change. So it's what he did with space. So, I mean, that's the game. Some of them work, some of them don't. What would bother me about this Facebook Meta Platforms, I guess that's our new name. Look, running up to that 50-day told you everything that you need to know. Okay. Some people are actually saying he changed the name to Move Assets because of impending lawsuits. I don't know. I think it sounds like a short person's dream, but you're going to run to here and you're going to go up. Do I think that he has a shot of the metaverse working and that working for him? I really don't think he's got a shot at it. Do you really think that the people that want to build the metaverse are going to want to run it through a Facebook platform where he's in complete control of it? So that one person's completely in control of the metaverse? Do you really think that that's going to take off? I don't. So I really don't. Look, I think Facebook and Twitter are going to be around. I listened to a really good podcast on this. People way smarter than me that are big VC guys. And I agree with this. I think Facebook is going to be around like Twitter's going to be around, and it's going to be like Microsoft Office, right? It's something that you're always going to use. Okay. And it'll be there, but it's not going to be the cutting edge. I think that said, and I'm getting way too fundamental, this tells you everything that you need to know. You went right to the 50-day and rejected hard. Okay, that means that you had selling the whole way down on it, and I would watch that. I think it's a short. Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty clear on I'm hoping I've been pretty clear on my position with that it's a short. I mean, look, I have very thematic short positions. Okay. People know this. They know that I think this is a short, right? I think these Chinese names are shorts. I think they're going to delist them all, just to give you, my feelings on like Futu and Tiger. I think the writing's on the wall. And I think the writing has been on the wall since DIDI. Since what they did there, that was it. It was game over. They went too far. When they pulled that from the App Store, that scared the heck out of all institutional investors because they were like, well, if you're going to do it to one company, you could do it to any company. And look what happens when you speak out. They destroy your company. So, I think that's one of my thematic shorts. The other are the Vax names, as people know. But yes, I think it's an outright short. Let's go through a couple of these because I keep missing them. I keep missing these. Hey, Terry. I don't know why I'm missing people tonight. I apologize. Let's do a small one for your thoughts. Coty, if you have time. Also PayPal. Let's just start with Coty. And then we can go through it. Couldn't even get my words out fast enough. I like if you get over the 9.25, you're trying, you have earnings coming up tomorrow, right? So it's a day trade, right? That's what you're looking for, to trade it before earnings. So, I mean, if you get over the high of the day, yeah, it could run before earnings. Just like it, maybe you can. I don't know. This one, I couldn't even speak. I don't know what you would see here that would make you realize that you have to get into this. I don't see it on any level. You're breaking down every single level. To me, this is trading like bad news is coming. I mean, it really is. It's trading like get me out. And I don't know why that is, but there it is. And it's not good. So, maybe it's Stripe cutting into their business. Look, I use both programs, and Stripe's a heck of a lot easier. I have to do less with Stripe than I do with PayPal, for whatever that's worth. Let me just see if I missed anything. SM. I feel like I've been asked about SM a bunch of times, and I haven't gotten to it. I apologize. Doing it now, my friend. I like this. I like this name. I like this, the wick right here. Look, this is what you're looking for. Okay? You're looking to get over that or close over that wick. That's what you're looking for. That's it. Okay? I like that trade. I like when you have long-legged wicks like this and then you clear them because it means you got rid of everybody and you're building that flag. This looks nice. This could keep going. That's it. I like that trade. Let's go. Hey, Ed, I'm going to wrap this up soon. If you want to, while I'm doing the newsletter or finishing the newsletter, I can run through what you asked about earlier on how to determine the range on UPST. Yes, exactly, Jay. It's 100% similar. Yeah, I mean, correct. You're dead on, and that's how I feel looking at it. I feel like I'm being given an opportunity, and people are worried about the valuation, and they're still worried about the valuation on Tesla, right? So they grow into their valuation. The issue is that you might not be able to buy it at 200 again. I think Coin has the potential to be one of those stocks, frankly. But Airbnb is showing they're around. I was concerned about their cost structure, everything else. Now they're going to come down on their fees. They're going to do more business. More people are going to do it. I know more investors buying high-end homes, like homes that are, low seven figures, to Airbnb for a month or two. It's amazing what's happening in that industry and how it's transforming home ownership, where people are like, oh, I'll go live here for 2 months. I'll go live there for 2 months. It's very interesting. Very interesting. And I think it's going to continue. I think that's going to be the trend. So I like Win, Jen. I looked at that. Let me run through these really quickly. If you have anything else you want me to run through, please let me know. I like Win here. I think Win and LVS just got saved by Visor, frankly. Now they're not going to worry about Macau as much. And I think Las Vegas Sands was set to sell someplace. And they lost Adelson. So I'd watch that one. Win lost Win, so you have to watch that one. Out of those names, have you been looking at this one? This one's like a honey badger. It just does not really seem to care. It's hitting highs. So I like that whole space, though. But, there's a leader, and here it is. And here's your base. and here you broke it. So, yeah, I do think it's a short. Open. Open, you really can't do anything with. Open was a disaster. I mean, just an absolute dumpster fire. I wouldn't go near this. I really wouldn't. We took a loss on it in the newsletter. Lost $1.50, $1.60. This is done. This has major problems. Okay, this is really bad. Okay, just remember, you went from negative to positive to negative. Like it's just something as simplistic as that. You could set yourself up. Look, as soon as you take out that low, just short it and just leave it alone, right? Because it just probably trades down. It probably trades down to here. It could get to the 20s, 30s. So AMBA. So, yeah, I mean, I don't like these reversal bars and I don't like all these wicks, right? Usually rising wedges this tight and one way, and it's down and it's violent. So just watch that. If you're in this, I would not buy this here, but rising wedges end one way and it's down like a frozen rope. It's not nice. Yeah, they both are good companies. I agree. Yeah, if they're day trades, Cody over the high, you could get that trade. That trade could work. So, just keep that in mind. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean, look, overall, just to wrap up here on the general theme, okay, you need to be looking at this. Okay, you need to be looking at the IWM and stocks that are in the IWM. You can look at the growth names in the IWO, okay, that this breaks out the growth of the Russell. So just keep these names in mind and keep the space in mind, because I don't think this is going away. I really don't. And I think you're going to see a thematic shift. That's how I feel about it. So that's it, everybody. Have a great evening. If you need me, you know how to reach me. Talk to everybody tomorrow in the pre-market.